Hi, everybody, and welcome to Preservation Burlington's Live at 525 television show, our monthly TV show, where we invite guests from around all around Burlington and Chittenden County and the greater area to discuss preservation issues and stuff that's going on.
Cool history stuff.
It's spring-ish time now, so a lot of things have been hibernating or in sleep mode for a while. I know we don't have our schedules on the website, right, for walking tours and things?
It's getting there. We're just kind of getting things dialed in. We're putting our finishing touches like on the homes tour, walking tours, all our summer programs. So it's starting to come in bit by bit.
Yeah. So, and speaking of things coming up and guests, I'm Ron Wanamaker, Lisa, and Miriam, Margaret, and Isabella are here from the Heritage Winooski Mill Museum.
Yeah.
I've been working on that.
Welcome.
Thank you.
For having us.
So you guys were closed for a little while, right? And then you're opening up this coming month?
Yeah, we're opening up on April 2nd. We've just installed a new exhibit, so we were closed for a little bit to do the installation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourselves? Like first and last names and what your backgrounds, I know.
So I'm Miriam Block. I'm the executive director.
I'm Margaret Tamulonis. I'm the board chair.
Okay.
I'm Isabella Pozel. I'm a student intern at the museum.
Nice. And you're going to UVM?
Yes.
Okay. You're also associated with the Fleming?
Yeah, my day job is the collections and exhibitions manager at the Fleming Museum of Art.
Cool. Good background to have on the board. Yeah. And you've been with the museum for how long now?
10 years. This is, I've completed 10 years, so I'm going through my 11th year now.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for them.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us about this new exhibition that's coming in. It's going to be a permanent exhibition. Where did the idea come for it?
Yeah, so the exhibit is called Investigating Child Labor. It showcases photographs that Lewis Hine took of children who worked at the textile mills, and actually also includes photos of kids who worked in other jobs in Vermont and in the Burlington area in the early 1900s. We've always had those photos on display, but this new exhibit really makes it more engaging and accessible to younger kids. We really didn't want to just have like a text-heavy photograph exhibit that talks about kids. We want kids to really, feel compelled to really learn about it. So there's some interactive components to the exhibit. For example, there's a display panel that has magnets, so with adjectives on it, so you could describe, if you're looking at a photo of Addie Card, you can use these magnets to describe what she looks like, which was Lewis Hine's goal really, was to get sympathy from the viewer to enact reform in their voting, to make laws to protect kids.
What kind of age groups is this for?
It's for all ages. Actually, the exhibit also includes these cute little illustrations of rats that little kids will be more attracted to, and there's inquiry questions so parents can come to the exhibit with their little kids and start conversations about child labor. The other thing we wanted to add to the exhibit actually was also contemporary child labor issues, because I don't want people to come to the museum and see these photos from 100 years ago and think it was a thing of the past. So that was another goal of ours, is to include information about child labor issues in the U.S., especially with migrant workers, and also globally, because of course a lot of the textile mills in the U.S. have closed, and most of our manufacturing is overseas, and so we don't have control over the laws that happen, in Bangladesh or India, but we can be more informed consumers about the things that we purchase.
So that's challenging so you've got this topic and you're trying to make it interesting and interactive for young people and not boring and scary, but you're trying to also raise awareness about what's still going on and try to get people. So what was the process? Who did you work with, and what was the process of sitting down and trying to talk about all this and bring it together as an exhibit?
Yeah, it took several years.
Really?
Absolutely. First, we hired a woman named Betsy Loring, who is an exhibit designer, who helped me create a layout or a what's the word I'm looking for? A plan for what I wanted to do with the exhibit. And we did some prototyping for some engaging activities. We actually went to the South Burlington Middle School and had some kids try things out. We also went to the Winooski High School. That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it slowly developed. It also required raising some funds to go to the next step.
Yeah.
We worked with, eventually we wound up working with a graphic designer to create the look of the exhibit. I'm skipping a step. Before then, we worked with a historian to do all the research and create the text that's on all the panels. And we worked with Eric Adonis, a local person, to work on. Actually, that's Isabella's.
Does anyone else know Erica? She's been a guest on the show in the past.
Oh yeah, and also Isabella's professor right now.
Oh, no.
And then we had a fabricator from Providence, Rhode Island, who came and built the exhibition. And we also work with Print House from Bennington, Vermont, who printed everything. So a lot of
people moving parts.
Yeah.
and
So it's
bringing
not
that
like
to the time.
idea, couple pictures, done.
Build it.
Only. Something I really appreciate too is Miriam's involvement with interns who were helping develop the exhibition. Because I remember they were doing research a couple of years ago and talking about that. And they came and looked at Lewis Hines at the Fleming too and did some of the production.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for remembering, because we had these, I brought them with me, these 2 pamphlets that people can take from the exhibit, Know Your Rights and Take Action. So this is great for if you're 15 or younger or even older to know what your actual rights are when you're working these days.
Yep.
And this is how you could be a more informed consumer. And I had interns create these pamphlets for me.
Oh,
so
great.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, interns are great.
Thank you.
So tell us about your involvement.
Yeah,
with
what
the
are you
music.
doing?
Yeah.
I'm primarily the social media intern at the moment, which has been super fun ramping up to the new exhibit opening to the public. I recently interviewed the author Elizabeth Winthrop, who wrote a book inspired by Lewis Hines photography for our blog and newsletter, which was great. And yeah, mostly that. It's been really fun and rewarding.
Influencer. That's a word I just learned. I was just trying. Sorry. That's great. And what's your major at UVM?
I'm an English major at the moment, but I'm really interested in museum work and archival work, and so I've been having a great time exploring careers related to that.
So you get along well with Erica.
Yes, she's a great professor. It's why I took the class, which is a service learning class that pairs UVM students with different cultural heritage organizations. I knew she was the archivist at the UVM Special Collections.
Yeah. Yep. That's great. Good for you. You're on the board.
Yep.
So, I mean, aside from, I know the board has to raise money for these things,
Yes.
right? And have a bunch of meetings and be informed with what's going on. And because of your background, so how heavily involved did you personally get, or did you have to drag the board into, or?
I think the board really, really respects Miriam's expertise on exhibition design, et cetera. So Miriam's kept us in the loop on what you've been working on. We've tried to help a bit with fundraising and everything. I know Miriam's brilliant at writing grants, et cetera. So it's been really, really amazing to be involved with this phase of the Mill Museum. But also my first involvement with the Mill Museum was over 20 years ago when I came across it at the mall. And we did an exhibition a few years ago about Mill to Mall, right? Which is that Erica worked on actually. But just coming across what seemed like a phenomenon to me, like a space where in between some of the stores, they were talking about the history of the building and the history of the workers in the building was amazing to me. I come from a family who were mill workers in New England, so like, wow, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
But I think what I've loved to see over these 20 years and with Miriam's leadership is the changes at the museum where there's so much community outreach beyond the community of people who had worked in the mills and are descendants of people who did work in the mills is incredibly important and a part of Winooski. But there are other communities in Winooski and beyond that Miriam's been working with through the Mill Museum, and that's something I've really been impressed with.
Like what? Tell us about some of these communities.
I think the Welcome Blanket is one.
Yeah. So we've been doing, my background is actually as a textile designer. So I come from a different thing than like being a historian. So I love doing art programming, and I think that's a really great way to connect with people who aren't specifically connected to the history, but textiles is kind of universal. So we do a program with East African women in collaboration with AALV, a knitting program that actually started from this Welcome Blanket project we did a few years ago. And that's been really successful, and the women love it. It's very therapeutic, and they just gather together twice a month and we knit. And another program that I'm actually going to be doing upcoming in April, thanks to a grant from Vermont Humanities Creative Aging Grant, is that we're going to be doing a weaving program for the whole month of April in collaboration with the Winooski Senior Center. And there are about 8 women who are going to be participating in that and learning how to weave. And half of the women are refugee women from Nepal and India. And some of them used to weave when they were in the refugee camps. And so we did the similar program last year, and their muscle memory just came back when they started weaving, and they remembered things that they did, and they are loving it. And they can't wait to get started in April. So that happens next week as well.
It's like a whole language, right? Like it unlocks so many things, and it's how you communicate with people that you love in your community. And so that is a museum-sponsored event?
Yes, because, through textiles, we can connect with their experiences weaving where in their culture, and then they understand that Winooski was a textile town. So it creates this bridge and a connection so they can feel more connected to their new community. And what I love about, the board is a few years ago, we worked on our mission, which is to weave our industrial and cultural past with what matters to our community today. So that's really part of it, and making those connections to the new community so they can really understand and feel more connected to the history of the area.
Yeah, that's great, and that's the challenge. I mean, that's what history's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to connect us with what's happened and who we were, and especially in today's day and age with the immigrant communities of then and now, putting all that together, that's a really important message and engage people with history, which is such a challenge. So it sounds like you've come at it from all the right directions.
It is a real challenge, and I think it's one that museums across the country and the world are dealing with. Like, how do you get people interested to come in the door and then care about what's inside? You were talking about kids and engaging kids who are often like, well, this doesn't apply to me. This was 100 years ago, right? So how have you approached that in order to get more engagement across the ages?
Well, I think, with these outreach programs, and art, infusing art into it, textile arts is one way. We have done programs with the Winooski Elementary School. Last year we did a whole program on natural dye, and we worked with the summer school at Winooski where the kids were doing some natural dye projects. And then we also have, we work with the farmers market where we do an event every summer called, the last 2 summers, it's been very successful, called the Fiber Fair, and that is going to be happening August 30th. And that's always, so far been really a great way to, and a light lift for people to, because it happens right in front of the Champlain Mill. So you're thinking textiles and the Champlain Mill, and
like 2 and 2, yeah.
So you don't even have to go into the museum, but like there's a connection there, textile industry, what's happening today with the textile mill.
I attended that last year, and it was natural to just like walk in the door and see all the things, which brings me to ask, with this new exhibit, did you have to reconfigure the space? Did you add space? What happened, or did you just rearrange stuff that was already in there?
We did build some new display panels just to maximize the surface area that we could use, but not a lot, yeah.
So you didn't expand into other sections of the mill?
No, I wish we could, but
Not yet. Not yet.
yeah, that would be lovely. You know, one way that we've been expanding is, and our outreach is through these outreach programs, you know, and going beyond the walls. That's part of the mission.
Yeah, that was something we discussed a few years ago about sort of moving into, because we knew, I mean, you had already proven that was possible for you to do and for the Mill Museum to do. I love, like, with the Fiber Fair and other activities within the museum itself, the making of things. I'm somebody who's not very skilled at that sort of thing, and I love the idea of being able to try to do that and create it within a sort of a safe museum space. I loved the mandala piece that everybody worked on last year. I think just chances for community creation of things is something that is really fun to do inside and outside the walls of the museum.
Yeah. We're planning something like that. It's still in the very beginning planning stages, and we're looking for funding to commemorate the 1927 flood, which will be happening next year. And we would like that to be a community art project. So we would, you know, engage the community in thinking about floods and the river and engaging through art. So you can either be one of the makers in participating or just viewing it outside by the river. That's our vision.
As they do build a new bridge.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. There'll be a lot going on.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how the museum operates. You know, how big is your staff? Is it just a team of one? Like, what don't people know? What should people know?
So I am the only full-time employer. I depend on interns to help me. I have Isabella, thankfully, this semester. I actually also have another intern who's working with me on the weaving project. I do have a few volunteers who also help out, and we have the board. Plus, you know, when I do these big projects, I just hire people contractually to help me with things. So that's, you know, low overhead to make things happen.
And if people wanted to get involved, like, you know, or volunteer, are you accepting volunteers? Are you looking for volunteers? How can people support you other than showing up or making donations?
Sure. Yeah, they can contact me if they're interested in volunteering. There's different ways that you can volunteer depending on what your interests are. Donations are always welcome.
I know, you mentioned that earlier. I was going to say, is there a thermostat somewhere we can see? But people could go to the website, right?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It looks, I'm very excited to go check this out. And I can't believe April is already next week.
Yeah.
Right? So this is going to be coming up. What else is on your plate that you're excited about? Like, once this opens, you'll have all this free time, right?
Well, the museum opens to the public on April 2nd. We do have a reception happening in the evening on April 15th. From
Tax day, good job.
People will need a
6 to
party.
7 to, you know, as a way to thank our donors and the people who contributed to the exhibit, kind of a formal reception.
Fun.
And then the end of April, I think it's April 26th, I want to say, we're going to have a family day. So we're usually only open on Thursday and Friday afternoons. We save the other weekdays for school tours and group tours. That Sunday, the last Sunday in April, we're going to have a family day so that people with kids can come and check out the new exhibit. This is really just phase one, because in the summer we are going to have another new part of the exhibit, which is called the Discovery Nook. And that is going to be geared towards really young kids, like 3 and 4 years old, maybe up to 8. Currently, if you come in with really little kids, they may be bored. There's not a lot for them to do. So this corner it will be made for them. It's going to have dress up, it's going to have a bobbin sorting activity, and it will have a bench with some reading material, age appropriate, and things for kids to explore. We're also going to have a big mural up of kids protesting, and there's going to be a box with protest signs, so you can take a selfie pretending you're protesting,
Nice.
having to work at the mill. You can even make your own little sign. So that's coming up this summer.
Now that's the age that would have been bringing just their lunch pails to their parents instead of working at the museum, at the mill.
We
at the
actually
mill?
have,
Not the museum, the mill.
when the museum first opened, people wrote messages about their memories of the mill, and we have quite a few people who wrote, I remember bringing my parents their lunch to the mill. So before they even started working at the mill, they were introduced to what the environment was like
Culture.
by bringing lunch. So this exhibit will include a few different lunch boxes featuring foods from different cultures like French Canadian and Lebanese.
I was just going to say, what was in the lunch pails? What was
Yeah.
a lunch like 100 years ago?
So
in the
some of
mill?
the things that we learned were like people would just forage for some of the food. Like there was memories of eating not walnuts from trees. What am I?
Chestnuts?
Chestnuts.
Chestnuts?
Thank you. And berries and stuff like that. Of course, like ham and cheese sandwiches or cider. There were some accounts of kids wanting to be the one to bring their parent the lunch because their dad would buy them a Coke if they brought the lunch. So. Little things like that.
Right,
so,
right. Healthy competition.
so that was a job, a pre-mill job that little
Yeah.
kids did. Yeah.
That's how they get you.
I'm curious, when you're going back to the kids' corner and creating the activities, how did you decide on what activities would correlate to the history and help connect the two?
Well, I was really grateful for Betsy Loring, who has worked at children's museums and had some ideas of expertise on what kids would potentially be interested in. Also, Margaret Middleton, who was my graphic designer, is also a museum exhibit planner and had some ideas as well. So it was through their, just brainstorming some ideas, and also based on my experience with tours and group tours, coming up with some of those ideas.
What kind of group tours? Like who contacts you for a group tour?
We have some middle school students coming, high school students. This past week we have every single day students from UVM Rubenstein School coming as a field trip.
Yeah, you shared some pictures of that.
Yeah. I would like to increase the number of middle school and high school students coming to the museum, especially with this new exhibition.
Yeah.
So I'm currently planning a workshop for June, a professional development workshop where I would like teachers to come, and working with a curriculum development person who is going to help share with teachers how they can incorporate this information into their curriculum.
Do you work a lot with homeschooling students and parents as well, or is it more schools?
I have in the past, not recently, but maybe with this exhibit we can encourage more. Yeah.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
What
You're making a lot of connections,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah. What haven't we asked you that is just something people should know,
Can you
or that
think
you
of
want
something?
want people to know?
I've said a lot, haven't I?
There's a lot to say. Yeah.
I think that, again, as I said, the main thing for me is the community involvement of the Mill Museum, and how it is a place for community to learn about each other and to learn about the past, but also think about what's going on now. And that's just something that I think is amazing at that space.
And I think it's really fortunate to have it located where it is, right? It's on the circle. You've got the farmers market out there in the summer. Are you typically open during the winter, or is this an anomaly where you shut down to get
this
the
one
exhibit?
Yeah,
figured
we're
out?
usually open all the time, but we closed so we could rearrange things and prep the space. Yeah.
Yeah, with the new downtown redevelopment. Now that the whole downtown is back open, did that affect you at all when all the roads were closed last 2 years? Not so much.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, because you do outreach and you're bringing people specifically there for programming and things.
Yes,
So it's
yeah.
you're not relying a lot on foot traffic to just go, oh, look, a museum and come in.
Well, we have been trying. You know, our neighbors across the hallway is the Winooski Historical Society, and they have been really lovely about having a sign that they put out on the street when they have volunteers there. They put a sign out to encourage people to come in, and we do get some foot traffic when they have that out there.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
that's been very nice.
Right,
yeah.
right, good neighbors.
Yeah.
How big is the board? I know we're talking with Chittenden County Historic Society and our own struggles with board membership and stuff sometimes. How
We have 7 people on the board currently and would like to add a few more for sure, and we're working on that. I think the group that I work with, or we work with, is pretty engaged and are really interested in the topics we talk about, which is great. And board involvement is a way to sort of support your community and the museum. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell
I
us
always refer to them as a working board. You know, it's not like you're on a board for prestige or something.
Yeah.
It's people that are willing to get their hands dirty and do whatever
Like show
they
up
can.
for the fairs, right? Like
Yeah.
talk to people
Yeah.
visiting the museum, work with interns.
Yeah, it's important and more fun.
For somebody who might be considering, like thinking, oh, that sounds interesting. What does a board member do? What do you do? And how often do you meet? And like, what kind of work are you involved in?
Lately, we've been meeting pretty much every month, but it's mostly quarterly, so every couple months or so. We work with Miriam on looking at the budget, doing fundraising, talking about planning. Again, very, very, very appreciative of the work that Miriam is already doing in planning. Like
She's doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, but the other part to the board too is community outreach as well, right? We have a few people from Winooski on the board. We have people from other museums or UVM on the board as well. But like sort of getting a sense of what else is going on in the community outside of
Keeping tabs.
that building.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a way to keep those connections going.
Nice. I love it.
And it's great to be a director, you know, especially when you're the employees of one, but to have an activist board behind you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, this has been great. I'm really looking forward to going to see this. Are you going to go opening day?
Yeah. Most likely, maybe.
You said it on
Probably.
public television.
That's right. Yeah. But I've been known to lie before. But I should and will, and I love it over there. I love that part of Winooski, and the building is amazing. I love it. The whole family loves waterworks and watching the water, and That's the funny thing. That's it's great that you guys are there and that the historic society is right across the way. But I go into these buildings all over the place, and there's all these enlarged old photos of workers and people and history. Like we as a culture love it. And commercially we pitch it and sell it, but getting people engaged and keeping them engaged, that's the really hard work, satisfying work when it works, and you have your events that you do, but that's the part everybody, they want to knock a building down that's historic. And you're like, but you have pictures of that building in this building over here, don't you remember?
Right.
Yeah.
That there goes so many different ways, but I think we're also super lucky to have the collections of photos that we have, the Lewis Hine
that's a good
photos and
point.
special collections here. If that hadn't been here, or if he hadn't taken that upon himself to document, that would have been a different story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. I mean, I know now we're good, but one of my favorite things is he lists the names of the kids on the back of the photographs.
Oh, wow.
We have them at the Fleming, and I turn them over when we're looking at them, and they've got their names and their ages, maybe a little phrase about them. So.
Wow, that's really
That's
cool.
really
That's
special.
really important.
Yeah. Great.
So what's your favorite part about helping out here? And
Well, I'm new to the area, so it's a great way to learn a little bit more about the area and local history and feel more connected to it. And I think at small museums, you really get a fantastic picture of the work that goes into it. I
Yeah,
get to be really hands-on. I'm not relegated to like a copy machine or data input.
You get to be
Yeah.
on TV.
stuffing envelopes, that's right. You're kind of famous now.
Yeah.
See, when you intern for me, you get to do all these cool things.
I think you're going to have a flood of applications now.
Where are you from?
from California.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. The other coast.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So, as we see social media ramp up around this exhibit and summer activities, we now know who's behind it. That's great. So, again, the exhibit opens next Thursday, April 2nd. We wish you the best of luck with opening day, and we can't wait to see it. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you
It's-
so much for having us.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Wonderful.
And, you know, we all us little history buffs have to stick together, right? So and it's a good venue for that. So
1000%.
yeah, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to live at 5:25, Preservation Burlington's TV show. And for any other information, you can go to themillmuseum.org or preservationburlington.org, and you can see what's coming up on our events and your events, and keep in touch. Thanks everybody for tuning in.